On the day of my wedding to Jason Miller. The girl he truly loved jumped to her death. He didn't even glance toward the commotion. Just some irrelevant stranger. "It's you I love. You I want to grow old with," he murmured, sliding the diamond ring onto my finger with that soft smile I'd always trusted. 7 years later, when my parents died in prison and the Wilson family empire became his, I finally understood he'd been planning my destruction since her last breath. The nightmare always starts the same. In the dream, Jay still marries me despite being obsessed with another woman. Our wedding guests stampede toward the hotel terrace where Sophie, half her face still heartbreakingly beautiful, the other half shattered on concrete, becomes a grisly spectacle. Jay doesn't flinch. "Shouldn't you check what happened?" I ask, palm pressed to my racing heart. Why bother with some tactless nobody who couldn't even die considerately? His lips brush my temple as the platinum band settles at my knuckle. "You're my forever, Joe." I believed him. For 7 years. The nightmare shifts. Handcuffed at a cliff's edge. Jay's voice cuts through the howling wind. "Remember Sophie? The real love I lost because of our cursed engagement? Such a delicate girl, imagine her terror as she fell." His shove sends me tumbling over jagged rocks until my skull cracks open like hers. I wake gasping at our engagement party. Champagne flutes clink around me. My parents chat with Mr. and Mrs. Miller across the ballroom. Jay, no. Jason in his bespoke tuxedo, stiffens when I clutch his arm for balance. That's when I spot her through the crowd. Sophie. Very much alive. Nibbling canapes by the ice sculpture. The same rosebud mouth from those haunting news photos. Before logic intervenes, I throw myself against Jay's chest. "Kiss me," I demand, surging onto my toes. He recoils like I've brandished a knife. Eyes darting to Sophie. In that split second, 7 years of his calculated lies crystallize. The way he'd accidentally call me Sophie during sex. How he'd trace my cheekbone murmuring, "You'd look stunning with a mole here." Exactly where Sophie's beauty mark glimmers across the room. The ice sculpture shatters as I stumble back. Red wine blooms across Sophie's ivory gown like a bloodstain. Jay's already striding toward her with his jacket, the same instinct that'll later make him choose her hospital room over our stillborn's funeral. My mother appears with a glass of water. Cold feet. "Darling?" I watch Jay dab at Sophie's dress, his thumb lingering near her throat. When she laughs, it's the wind-chime sound from his sleep talking. 7 years from now, that laugh will echo through courtrooms as he testifies against my father. The nightmare's second chance coils in my palm like a wedding band. Let him run to her. Let them think they're hidden. I'll need every photo of this moment when the FBI comes asking about the Miller family's sudden wealth after my parents' suicides. Across the room, Sophie meets my gaze. Her flinch tells me she knows about the cliff, the rocks, the engagement ring. I'll soon slip into Jason's brandy. Let him choke on it. The kiss grazed his cheek, leaving a smudged lipstick stain. I need to step away for a moment. Jason Miller pushed me away abruptly and strode out. The forceful shove sent me stumbling to the floor. Through the bustling crowd, I clearly saw Sophie Davis fleeing with her head bowed, tears streaming behind her. Jay was chasing after her footsteps. I smirked coldly. At least I'd successfully ruined their moment. Though poisoning their happiness left me feeling disgusted. Like swallowing a fly. Jay. Go toast to Uncle Mike. My mother turned with a smile that froze when she saw me sprawled on the floor. "Oh darling. Did you hurt yourself?" She helped me up urgently, genuine concern warming her voice. The heat from her arm seeped through my sleeve, thawing the icy numbness in my chest. My nose stung with sudden emotion. Thank God this was just the engagement party. Thank God the nightmares from my dreams hadn't materialized yet. "I'm fine, Mom. Just need to fix my makeup." I blinked back tears, hurrying in the direction Jay had disappeared. Snatching a full champagne flute from a passing waiter, I downed it in one gulp. The bitter bubbles burned my throat as I finally found Jay in a remote storage room. In his haste, he'd left the door slightly ajar. Inside, Their entangled silhouettes moved passionately against the shelves. Such a heartwarming scene deserved preservation. I cursed, realizing I'd forgotten my phone. As I turned to retrieve it, my shoulder collided with a rock-solid chest. A large hand muffled my gasp before it escaped. I whirled around to meet piercing steel-gray eyes. The stranger, Samuel Carter, held me in an unbreakable embrace from behind. His tailored suit smelling of sandalwood and danger. "Jay, if you love me, why are you marrying someone else?" Sophie's tearful voice carried through the crack. No time for explanations, I twisted within the man's grip, patting down his suit pockets until I found his phone. Ignoring his stiffened posture, I swiped up to activate the camera. My parents forced this childhood engagement. You know I'd never choose this. Sophie. Just give me more time. Jay murmured, stroking her back. His fingers tangled in her hair exactly like in my recurring nightmare. What if they never let you break it off? Will you still marry her? Sophie's tear-streaked face tilted up, mascara miraculously intact. Jay's silence spoke volumes. Why chase me if you won't fight for us? Her fists pounded his chest with theatrical sobs. Because I'll die without you. Even if I marry her, she'll only ever be like a sister. You're my everything. Sophie. I'll give you anything except the wedding band, just don't leave me. He buried his face in her neck, their embrace mirroring the haunting visions I'd endured for months. I nearly burst out laughing, the phone trembling in my hands as it captured every damning second. The stranger's arms tightened around me, his breath hot against my ear. Careful, little spy. His deep voice rumbled. Evidence collected needs to escape alive. He always claimed to treat me like a sister, yet had crossed every line imaginable. After Sophie died in my dreams, Jay lost his primary outlet and began taking out his frustrations on me with increasing abandon. During those intimate nights, I mistook his passion for affection. How foolish I was. My hand trembled violently around the phone. Sensing my shaking, the man behind me shifted his palm from my mouth to steady my arm. His porcelain, white fingers gleamed under the dim light, elegant as jade carvings. Did you say you'd grant me anything? Sophie's shrill voice snapped me back to reality. Through the cracked door, I watched Jay nod eagerly. I want to work as your personal assistant starting tomorrow. She traced his jawline imperiously. Consider it done. Jay rasped. You're mine alone. Jay. No touching her. Sophie's command hung in the air. I promise. His Adam's apple bobbed. Kiss me now. She tilted her chin up triumphantly. Jay lifted her onto the desk, their lips colliding with renewed hunger. The atmosphere crackled with tension, their frantic movements sending papers fluttering to the floor. Jay. I've missed you these past days, Sophie's breathy plea cut through the humid air. Give me what I need. We can't, the door's broken. I shouldn't stay long, his protest died as she wrapped her bare legs around his waist. Jay's fleeting glance toward the doorway sent my mysterious companion dragging us sideways. Neither noticed our presence as their encounter escalated. The stranger's iron grip never loosened, even as I wriggled back to capture every compromising angle. My phone faithfully recorded each moan and gasp. When satisfied, I switched to stealth mode, capturing damning stills. Triumph and disgust warred within me, but no trace of shame. As my knees buckled, the stranger steadied me before melting into shadows. His lingering warmth sparked unexpected awareness. Liquid courage surging, I kicked off my heels and pursued. He nearly slammed the hotel door in panic. Sliding through the narrowing gap, I pressed him against the wall, our breaths mingling. Want to finish what we started? My fingers tangled in his collar before he could protest. I arched my knees and licked the sharp curve of his Adam's apple. Women are easily drawn to exquisite beauty, and men are no exception, especially when they're tall, impeccably built with sculpted bone structure that looks touched by divine hands. Jason Miller had left his marks and scent on me before. Though he'd taken other women, he remained obsessed with my skin. But even the most flawless skin is just a surface layer. I didn't know if this sudden revelation had driven me mad or simply awakened my true nature. My warped mindset demanded obliteration through new sensations, a reckless plunge to forget reality and prove I still lived. He wronged you. But self-destruction isn't the answer. He growled, restraining my restless legs. Self-destruction? I traced his hand gripping my knee, tilting my head in challenge. Watching porn doesn't mean I can't indulge basic instincts. Besides, my thumb brushed his pulse point. You want this too. He loomed over me in silent confrontation. Eyes dark as ink yet burning with the same hunger I'd seen countless times in Jay's gaze, the man who'd promised me forever during our vows. Too good for me? I yanked his tie, bringing his lips inches from mine. Or just incapable of? The taunt died as he seized my jaw, crushing my mouth beneath his. I surrendered to the foreign pleasure, letting oblivion claim me. Morning light found me alone. The phone on the nightstand lit without passcode, SIM card intact. I went straight to the gallery. Empty except for last night's photos and videos. Relief flooded me as I collapsed back onto tangled sheets. He'd left while I slept, immaculate in his tailored clothes. No trace remained except my ravaged state. He might not know me, but I remembered him from my wedding day nightmares. That austerely aristocratic face wasn't easily forgotten. Jay's cousin. I vaguely recalled, replaying the dream and yesterday's chaos. I faced the truth. Childhood sweethearts for 20 years meant nothing. Jay had moved on, reducing me to an embarrassing stain. The perfect match fairy tale? Just convenient lies to funnel my family's fortune into his bottomless corporate pit. Snatching the phone, I called Emily. Bring me clothes, I said before hanging up on her incoming screech. Today was our engagement party. Half the day gone. The blushing bride missing, they'd be frantic. Hiding here while they file missing person reports? Emily barged in, already shrieking. Jesus. Joe. You're practically wearing a hickey necklace. She poked my throat, grabbing her compact. I saw the damning purple marks. Fucking bastard. I hissed, throwing the mirror. Please. She snorted. Since when does anyone make Joe do anything she doesn't want? The truth burned worse than the bites on my skin. Joanna Wilson. Don't say I didn't warn you. Men are disposable commodities. You just got engaged, there's plenty of time ahead. Pace yourself. Em tossed the bag of clothes and medication onto the bed, her teasing grin widening. Wasn't him. I grabbed the water bottle from the bag, taking a deliberate sip. You mean you slept with someone else on your engagement day with Jay? Em's jaw dropped comically wide. Let's just say we've become intimately acquainted. I smirked, recalling those stolen glimpses of his infidelity. Em momentarily lost her ability to speak. Jay's cheating on you? The engagement's already official. How will you explain this to your parents? Is this your revenge? Isn't this a bit extreme? And who was today's guy anyway? Did you even check if he's clean? Her words tumbled out in frantic succession. Enough. I massaged my temples. I've got this under control. The truth was, nothing physical had actually happened. I vaguely remembered the man saying something about not wanting me to regret things when sober before I passed out. Wait, the phone number. You called me from his cell, right? Em jumped up. With real name registration? We can trace. Unnecessary. It was spring fever. No obligations. I plucked the silk scarf from her neck with mock sweetness. Now go be my damage control with the parents. Chop chop. Pikachu. She rolled her eyes dramatically. Joe. Your talent for bossing people around hasn't changed. I'm just your pawn. Aren't I? Still. She obediently headed for the door. Don't expose me. And don't confront Jay directly. I added. Her muttered curse echoed down the hallway. Alone. I showered and towel-dried my hair. Then sat cross-legged on the hotel bed reconstructing the timeline from my hauntingly vivid dream. The chilling correlations couldn't be ignored, whether premonition or past life. I refused to relive that nightmare. After devising my counter-strategy, I called Chang Xiao, our security systems manager. Get me 24 pinhole cameras. Now. Setting an alarm. I collapsed back into restless sleep. The stranger never returned. At midnight, I wrapped M's scarf around my neck and slipped out. Chang Xiao waited at corporate headquarters with blueprints in hand. Mark all blind spots. I tossed him a red marker. His pen flew across the diagrams. Conference room. Executive washroom. And your private dressing area? He hesitated. Cheeks flushing. Ms. Wilson. Installing these in personal spaces seems. I'll take full responsibility. Double your year-end bonus. My fingertip tapped the most sensitive locations. Discreet placement. Now. I grinned at him. You in? The terminal? He caved. Connect it to the rarely used computer in my office. Encrypt it. My gaze swept over his toolkit. Get to work. He moved with practiced efficiency, mapping out surveillance blind spots versus vulnerable areas. I supervised closely, watching him install each camera. By dawn's first light, everything was operational. Not a word to anyone. Remember the NDA? I flashed Sam a smile before exiting. When my parents came downstairs for breakfast, I was already at the table sipping warm milk. Look who decided to grace us. Disappearing on our anniversary, do we mean nothing to you? Dad's face darkened. Joe is always responsible. Let her explain. Mom interjected, playing mediator. Disappearing precisely because you matter. Mom? Dad, check this out. I slid my phone across the table. Joanna Wilson. Have you no decency? Dad nearly dropped the device when moans erupted. My bad, wrong timestamp. Deadpan. I reset the video. Footage from yesterday. That's Jay. They watched the entire clip in stunned silence. Thoughts? Dad finally asked. His voice graveled, serious. I want Jay gone and the Miller family ruined. My smile didn't reach my eyes. Be serious. Fine. Keep the engagement. Treat the Millers normally. I'm not ready for open war yet. All levity vanished. They agreed without pressing further. Proceed with today's Miller deal. But revise the contract. Demand promissory notes or equivalent equity shares. My lips curved slyly. 3-month repayment window. 1% daily interest after that. Remind them timely payments build credit. My parents exchanged glances but nodded. Cool. Enjoy breakfast. Dad. Take me to Miller Enterprises this afternoon. I kissed their cheeks and headed upstairs, leaving them speechless. Alone. Tears blurred my vision. My kind-hearted parents would never comprehend the Miller family's treachery from my dreams. Those nightmares of corporate sabotage and violence stayed locked in my mind. But ruin the Millers wasn't hyperbole. I'd dismantle their empire before it threatened my family again. During Dad's contract negotiation with Mike, I wandered into Jay's office. A new desk appeared beside his, occupied by Sophie, porcelain skin, doe eyes, and an innocent charm I could never replicate. New hire? Fetch my coffee. I settled into the executive chair, leaning back casually as I ordered her around. I only know how to brew tea, not grind coffee, she hesitated, politely refusing. Can't grind or won't learn? Am I not entitled to give orders here? Or has the Miller family installed a new deity in this office? Do you know who I am? The future Mrs. Miller. Talk back again and you'll be out of a job. I snatched a decorative paperweight from the desk and hurled it near her feet. She flinched, eyes instantly welling up. I'll teach her. Secretary Lou hastily intervened. Good girl. I tilted my head, arching an eyebrow at her. The coffee arrived 20 minutes later, as Sophie placed the mug 3 arms lengths away on the massive desk. I scowled. Are you serving me or yourself? She trembled while repositioning the cup beside me. When I reached for it, she tilted the scalding liquid toward my hand. I darted away just as the door opened. Darling. You're back. I fluttered over to Jason like a delicate bird, narrowly avoiding the falling mug. Thud, scream. Jason brushed past me to reach Sophie. Are you burned? Let me check. He hoisted her onto the desk, removing her shoe to inspect her foot, completely forgetting my presence. Click, I snapped a perfect shot of their intimate moment. The camera flash startled them. Joanna. You, Jason paled. Panic-stricken. My. Such concern. One might think she's your fiancé. I feigned confusion. Jay. Do you pamper every employee like this? Of course not. She's just fragile. Don't be upset, he reached for my hand. Glad to hear it. Since I need an assistant and she's clearly incompetent, I leaned against the bookshelf. Arms crossed. Why not let me train her? Sophie visibly trembled. Mr. Miller. Please don't, her tearful plea hung in the air. I'm speaking to my man, who asked for your opinion. I snapped before turning sweetly to Jason. You wouldn't deny me this small favor. Would you? Joe. Why are you targeting her today? Targeting? I batted my lashes. Smiling. At least he noticed the obvious, the man wasn't completely blind. What's on your mind? It's my first time meeting her. How could she possibly offend me? Besides, I'm not that easily offended anyway. The company's about to go public. You're always so busy, every assistant of yours needs to be resourceful and capable. Let alone your executive assistant. She's too incompetent. Not qualified. I'm doing this for your own good. Jay. Are you unwilling to let her go? Or do you think I'm not worthy to have her on my team? I roughly yanked Sophie's name tag off. My voice dripping with icy venom. Of course you're worthy. Joe. I'm just worried about overworking you, Jay forced an awkward smile. Nobody understands you better than I do. Why don't I become your executive assistant? We'll be partners in both work and life. Wouldn't that make for a beautiful corporate romance story? I batted my eyelashes, reviving this absurd idea. This time, Jay's face flushed crimson. I snorted coldly. Can't blame him, how could he keep me close while plotting to take over the Wilson family? Oh. I should check if Dad finished signing the contracts. He promised seafood hot pot tonight. I wriggled free from Jay's grip and dashed toward the conference room. I didn't miss Jay's panicked expression as I left. My threat was crystal clear, he could either protect Sophie or my father's investment. But not both. When I clumsily tried barging into the meeting, Jay intercepted me. Joe. Sophie sprained her ankle. Give her 3 days. Okay? He'd regained composure. Speaking cautiously. Sure. Since the dads are busy. Let's head to the restaurant first? I tugged his sleeve. After prolonged hesitation. He agreed. My feet hurt. Carry me. Spotting Sophie nearby, I spread my arms demandingly. Jay reluctantly scooped me up bridal style. I swung my legs cheerfully in his arms, pretending our conflict never existed. Dinner never happened. Jay stormed out after learning his father secured funding through IOUs instead of cash. My appetite, however, improved dramatically. The next day, I returned to work, swamped with projects. I discovered the hotel mystery man's identity during afternoon tea. While refilling my water in the pantry, I overheard Em and coworkers excitedly chattering about Jay. What's got you so hyped? I asked casually, sipping my drink. I candy. Supernova level hottie. Wanna see? MS. Wilson? Em winked. Pass. Grabbing a cupcake, I settled by the window. The group switched topics upon noticing me. After finishing my snack, I tactfully exited. 10 minutes later, Em sneaked into my office. Did you know Jay has a half-brother? She whispered conspiratorially. What? No. I blinked in genuine surprise. That's who we were discussing. Total Greek god, shame about his tragic backstory. Rumor says his mom was Mike's actual wife. But since they never legally married, Mike married his mistress instead. The brother went from heir to bastard overnight. After his mom committed suicide from the humiliation, Mike brought him home but lied about his identity, calling him Jay's distant cousin before shipping him abroad. He took his mother's surname, Samuel Carter. He was at the engagement party 2 days ago. Though I doubt you noticed him. Probably back in the States by now, Emily Brown chattered away like an excited sparrow. a suspicion began forming in my mind. Show me the photo. Let's see this legendary handsomeness. I set down my documents and extended my palm. She fiddled with her phone before handing it over. The grainy surveillance shot revealed a man with sculpted features, hooded eyes framed by absurdly long lashes. A jawline sharp enough to cut glass. My one-night mistake from the hotel. The pieces clicked into place. So Jason Miller's sudden change of heart had ancestral precedent. Decent enough. But what's his face got to do with you? Planning to chase him across the Atlantic? Gossip time's over. Back to work. I dismissed Emily with practiced indifference. She choked on her iced coffee, stomping out with comically puffed cheeks. Sophie Davis appeared at my office exactly on schedule. Though how Jay convinced her remains a mystery. 3 days had hollowed her cheeks. Fear radiating from her whenever I entered a room. Smart girl. I had no intention of mentoring her. Of course. This was about keeping the viper where I could watch it strike. Memories of my 3-month wedding preparations collapsing under her staged suicide still burned fresh. When I dumped Sophie on my assistant, Jay suddenly developed enthusiasm for visiting my firm. Predictable. Her delicate Lily act only works on Jason Miller's of the world. He probed me repeatedly about any history between Sophie and me. I served perfect plausible deniability with a side of corporate professionalism. Frequent business trips and sudden sick days became my routine, while Sophie drowned in deliberately tedious overtime tasks. Their audacity grew with each unchecked encounter. Jay knew every security camera blind spot in the building. He didn't know about the motion-activated pen cam in his favorite potted fern. At first, I let them marinate in false security, amassing digital evidence with each fumbling closet tryst. The restroom stall incident nearly broke my composure. Sophie's whispered he still picks me deserved an Oscar nomination. The real fun began when I walked in on them getting carried away in the break room. Sophie vanished into a supply cabinet with raccoon-like agility. Practice makes perfect. Apparently. Jay. You're flushed. Running fever? I pressed my palm to his forehead. All concerned fiancé. Just stuffy in here. His uneven breathing betrayed the yoga pants half hidden under the sofa. I giggled, locking the break room door on my way out. What followed was 3 hours of strategic blouse unbuttoning and shared champagne flutes near the conspicuously airless cabinet. Sophie emerged ghost-pale, collapsing dramatically in the sunlight. My 911 call dripped with sisterly concern. When the Miller Group later floundered on a botanical garden bid, Jay naturally came begging. Use my email for the pitch deck. He insisted, unaware I'd already CC'd the client on his entire bungled proposal history. I agreed verbally but secretly pulled a classic case of passive-aggressive compliance. In that lifetime from my dreams, this project had been snatched up by the Millers at minimal cost yet generated their most enduring profits, becoming their cash cow project. This time, I believed the fruits should return to their rightful owners. However, with Sophie at the company, I worried she'd leak information to Jay. I decided to eliminate her first. Get rid of that Sophie Davis. Make her resign voluntarily. I instructed my assistant. After 2 weeks of orchestrated torment, Sophie submitted her resignation. Under the guise of looking out for Jay's interests, I politely declined her request. When Jay later came demanding her return multiple times, I magnanimously released her. With Sophie unemployed, she'd have more time clinging to Jay, advantageous for me. 3 months post-engagement, I verified through accounting that the Millers had repaid my father's massive investment. Their 1% daily interest penalty for late payments proved too steep. With redundant surveillance cameras now useless, I had Sam discreetly remove them. Throwing myself into the new battle, I worked overtime with my team developing proposals. After laying the groundwork, I became a regular at business dinners, schmoozing every key player in the landscaping project. When necessary, I brought Dad or Jay along, but always subtly signaled to decision makers that I held sole authority. When our partners finally confirmed collaboration intentions, Jay became effusively affectionate. "Joe, you're the most perfect, capable woman I've ever met, beautiful yet formidable. You're the ultimate partner I don't deserve. He gushed between saccharine declarations of love. I knew his praise actually celebrated my perceived gullibility and compliance. His compliments always made me wonder, what cosmic debt had I incurred to endure his betrayal in 2 lifetimes? Or perhaps my dream self deserved it for being love-blind and naive? The thought sickened me. Whenever Jay initiated intimacy, I invented excuses. Often before I could respond. His phone rang, frequent calls from Sophie Davis. Construction executive. The title nearly made me laugh aloud. A parasitic vine sucking nutrients from its host tree hardly deserved the executive honorific. Jay, you should attend to business. Don't worry about me. I'd sweetly shoo him away. Sophie's delicate facade hid formidable prowess. She successfully monopolized Jay's attention, leaving him oblivious to my maneuvers. On contract signing day, I hosted a banquet at Yanjin's Ho's premium venue under the Wilson family name, inviting all partner executives. The private suites boasted conference capabilities with wireless mics and karaoke. That night became my most triumphant moment since awakening. I enthusiastically toasted our collaborators, earning paternal concern shifting from slow down to enjoy yourself as executives good-naturedly stopped pressuring drinks. When Emily warned Jay's car had entered the garage, I grabbed the mic for celebratory karaoke. The fiery rhythms of Red Sunflower electrified the room. As the last note faded, Jay stormed in, wordlessly dragging me to an empty suite. I compliantly followed, discreetly pocketing the wireless mic. You played me, Joe. He snarled, his slap cracking across my face with demonic fury. After months of meticulous planning, I never anticipated immediate violence. I messed up. I stammered, clutching my cheek, juggling multiple projects. I accidentally filed under Wilson's and couldn't correct it in time. Jason, I swear it wasn't intentional. Please don't hit me. I pressed the wireless mic into a blind spot, my voice trembling with feigned vulnerability. We're engaged now. My father only has me as his heir. Didn't you say the Miller family and Wilson family are family? The state-of-the-art microphone guaranteed crystal clear transmission, no static. Silent operation. Perfect for discreet recording. Let Jay suspect nothing. Signing contracts under the Wilson family's name uses Wilson funds. There's a world of difference. Jay's knuckles whitened against the champagne flute. Joe, how many times must I remind you? My father considers this project crucial. I need this deal. Why can't you grasp simple concepts? His tirade continued, spittle landing on my designer blouse. Last time too. You promised post-engagement capital injection without strings, yet forced my father to sign loan agreements. Then you had the Galto transfer my executive assistant to your team and harass her. She's Miller family personnel since college internships. Who do you think you are? The crystal flute shattered against marble flooring. Think engagement means I'm trapped? Bitch. You'll learn your place. His palm connected with my cheekbone, the impact echoing through the soundproofed VIP suite. My skull cracked against lacquered wall panels, precisely as my nightmare predicted. Gasping through bruised ribs. Clarity pierced through denial. Compliance meant death. Survival required reinvention. Father controls corporate finances. Jay. You know I can't interfere. I dabbed bloodied lipstick discreetly, ensuring mic positioning. When Miller Enterprises needed emergency funds last quarter, didn't we wire $20 million within hours? Loans are standard practice. His Gucci loafer crushed my fingers. Sophie showed me the harassment logs from your HR system. Think I'd tolerate you bullying my people? Sophie Davis? I coughed, triggering the mixed distress signal. I specifically told my assistant your friend's recommendation. Whatever happened? Enough lies. Jay's Armani-clad forearm pressed against my windpipe. Know why I chose the Sapphire Suite? Private elevator to garage. His thumb traced my jugular. Don't worry, princess. Just enough bruises for hospital photos. Your parents will believe our romantic staycation story. Oxygen deprivation blurred vision when salvation crashed through double doors. Not father security team. But the last person I expected, Samuel Carter. Jay's fiercest business rival. Holding damning surveillance footage. The man from the hotel was Samuel Carter, Jason Miller's older brother. He strode forward and punched Jay square in the jaw with bone-crunching force that echoed through the room. Jay crumpled under the assault. Completely defenseless. Though my coughing fit hadn't subsided. I gaped at the scene unfolding before me. What's happening? Why are they fighting? Joe. Are you okay? Stop fighting. Someone's going to get killed. Within moments, my father and a swarm of executives flooded into the room, gasping in unison. The situation spoke for itself. Even these corporate bigwigs could instantly grasp what had transpired. The hotel manager immediately called the police. Jay, now bloodied and terrified by the sudden crowd, tried crawling away on all fours but was swiftly restrained. Let's go. Joe. Dad's taking you to the hospital. My father bent down to lift me. Mr. Wilson. I've got her. Sam strode over and scooped me up before my father could react. No need. I can carry my own daughter. My father's displeasure was evident. Dad. Your back injury, I interrupted before dissolving into another coughing fit that shook my entire body. Sam followed the hotel manager's directions toward the garage exit via a discreet service door. Before leaving, he shot Jay's battered form one last venomous glare. I could practically feel the unspent rage rolling off him in waves. Drive faster. To the hospital. My father barked from the back seat as Sam buckled me into the passenger side. The SUV roared to life, tires screeching as we careened through red lights. My knuckles turned white gripping the armrest. Safety first. Slow down. My father's voice wavered with alarm. Under control. Mr. Wilson. Sam replied evenly, easing off the accelerator by maybe half a mile per hour. Really, just my throat, not dying here, I rasped between coughs. Quiet. Sam's terse command froze me mid-sentence. I wisely kept my mouth shut despite resenting his tone. At the hospital, Sam carried me through every examination. The diagnosis, severe neck bruising affecting blood circulation, minor oxygen deprivation, and a spectacular purple welt across my shoulder blades. When my mother arrived and burst into tears at the sight of me, I couldn't blame her. The mirror had shown me looking like roadkill. Sam stubbornly refused to leave, offering no explanation when my parents questioned our relationship beyond Jay's brother. During police interviews, officers kept side-eyeing Sam about excessive defensive measures. I maintained our story through raspy whispers. Secretly relieved the voice recorder in my pocket had captured everything. Its tiny red light still blinked reassuringly. This evidence would protect us both. I didn't want Sam Carter to be dragged into this mess. So I fabricated a lie about my relationship with Jay Miller having already crumbled and Sam being my new boyfriend. However, I mentioned that my engagement to Jay was still technically active to avoid upsetting my parents, begging the officers to keep it confidential. They agreed. Before leaving, they took my medical report for sentencing purposes. When Jay was arrested, his scandals spread like wildfire through corporate circles, earning him the nickname the Gold Digger. I wasn't surprised. Dining at Yen Jin Chow cost at least 4 figures per person. Its patrons were all wealthy elites. Gossip travels fast in such tight-knit circles. My frustration grew when M. Brown visited me at the hospital, spotted Sam, and grilled me relentlessly. I finally confessed that Sam was the one who'd been with me at the hotel that day. She dramatically declared her heartbreak over her failed crush, and I told her to get lost. During my hospital stay, recurring nightmares left me increasingly drained. Vague fragments from these premonition dreams gradually connected into a coherent narrative. After marrying Jay, Sam Carter, operating from overseas, became his relentless adversary. In these dreams, I'd stubbornly sided with Jay, helping him survive crisis after crisis. This time, I decided to stay neutral and let them destroy each other while I stirred the pot from the sidelines. Jay's parents begged for leniency throughout his detention. On my discharge day, my own parents cautiously brokered his case. Dad. Mom, are you sure you want to let him off? I pressed. They'd consulted lawyers. A minor injury conviction would only get him 3 years max. Not enough? My father stated. Besides, the Wilson and Miller family businesses are too intertwined. We need time to disentangle ourselves. His third point sealed it. We've always played the long game in business. You understand? Joe. That single word, not enough, revealed they'd finally seen the Millers' true colors. Thrilled by their awakening, I agreed to issue a letter of forgiveness on one condition: terminating the engagement. The Millers, cornered by their own disgrace, acquiesced. With the engagement dissolved, Sam began openly attending to my every need. Jay's abuse had taught me the danger of power imbalances. Until he was fully neutralized, I needed leverage. Sam, despite sharing Jay's bloodline, possessed decency his cousin lacked. His charm and attentiveness were agreeable. I moved into my own place under the guise of independence. Sam moved in as my boyfriend. I didn't protest. Jay taught me to seize pleasure without emotional entanglements. Still, caution prevailed. I hired a female bodyguard through my father. Oddly, living with Sam banished the nightmares. I slept soundly for the first time in months. My flawless execution of the landscaping project earned my father's respect. He began introducing me to his business network, claiming he wanted to retire early and travel with Mom. In the dreams, Jay had weaponized fate concern to manipulate me while secretly exploiting my work. Now, I'd planned to abandon corporate life once Jay fell, until I noticed my father's graying temples. I swallowed my rebellion. Though my parents talked of stepping back, their strategic rigor never wavered. They found every excuse to claw back outstanding receivables from the Miller family, suspended their charitable assistance, and axed several pending collaborative projects. Some of the Millers' longtime partners who were my father's friends from the Wilson family immediately cut ties upon seeing this. Overnight, the Miller family found themselves besieged internally and externally. Jay finally recognized my irreplaceable value, showing up at my office in tears. He even knelt in front of my entire staff, begging forgiveness. But I'd awakened from my delusions. Happiness comes from self-reliance, and career success is a woman's ultimate security blanket. I was simply biding my time for the perfect moment to deliver a knockout blow to the Millers. Every visit, Jay would bring bouquets of my favorite lilies of the valley, flowers symbolizing the return of happiness. He pleaded for mercy based on our 2 decades as childhood sweethearts, sometimes resorting to dramatic self-harm stunts. Fed up, I had security ban him from the premises. When Jay tracked me to my apartment, Sam answered the door shirtless with claw marks across his chest, sending Jay into a rage. Their hallway brawl became prime entertainment as I watched wrapped in a towel, munching popcorn. 3 months into the Millers' IPO quiet period, leaked surveillance footage exposed Sophie's workplace flirtations with Jay during her employment at my company. Citizen investigators flooded social media with evidence proving their ongoing affair. Earlier clips of Jay's tearful office apologies to me resurfaced, cementing his reputation as a two-timing hypocrite. The internet erupted as Jay's carefully cultivated image as the perfect gentleman heir apparent imploded. Just as Miller family PR teams contained one scandal, fresh leaks emerged from global IP addresses, digital cockroaches impossible to exterminate. Though not fatal to their IPO, the volatility tanked Miller stock prices, fraying investor nerves. Jay repeatedly accused me of orchestrating the leaks until my cease and desist letter shut him up. On their IPO bell-ringing day, hotel staff leaked footage of Jay hooking up with Sophie during our engagement party. An anonymous Banquet Dawn employee released audio of Jay threatening me at our venue. The Miller family's triumphant market debut became known as the Death Knell Day, their stock cratering amid national ridicule. Netizens had a field day remixing Jay's most infamous quotes. The engagement was arranged. But you're my true love, I'll give you everything except marriage. I'm the real victim here, caught between duty and desire. Love me? Then marry me so we can be one big happy family. What's yours is mine. Father-in-law. Wire funds immediately or your daughter pays the price. The assistant's my soulmate. The fiancé's collateral damage. Let's play a game. Guess whether your skull or my resolve is harder. Daily reminder, know your place. Bitch. These memes dissolved my lingering bitterness better than any revenge plot. After I posted the secretly filmed hotel video, Samuel Carter demanded my phone. How much do you want? I'll transfer it. Is 10,000 enough? I immediately opened our chat window. Though that phone lay unused in my drawer, I simply refused to return it. Sam accused me of humiliating him with money and spent hours lecturing me, suggesting if I really wanted to keep it, I could repay him another way. Of course, this was merely a minor episode. The Miller family had invested heavily this time, rapidly bribing media outlets and websites to remove all audio-visual materials and posts. Yet many still possessed copies, and with numerous business rivals targeting the Millers, the online storm persisted. Miller Group's stock price continued to fluctuate wildly, yet the company stubbornly survived. I wasn't particularly disappointed, having never expected minor scandals to topple the Millers. What I wanted was their complete bankruptcy. Over the following years, guided by prophetic dreams, I systematically claimed every project the Miller family had secured in those visions. Forbidding wars, I undercut their offers. The Millers became paranoid about corporate espionage, conducting multiple internal investigations that only destabilized their workforce further. To achieve my goals, I occasionally crossed ethical lines. Though Sam caught me red-handed several times, he never exposed me. Instead, he covertly aided my endeavors. I discovered his genius for budgeting, consistently maximizing our profit margins post-acquisition. Suddenly I understood why J. Miller had valued him so highly. My parents were laid-back entrepreneurs without grand ambitions for IPOs. The Miller family had essentially been nurtured by the Wilson family's resources. The Wilson-Miller fallout created lasting repercussions. When Mike Clark finally recognized his son Jay as the root of their declining fortunes, the aging patriarch, father to multiple illegitimate daughters but only one legitimate heir, couldn't bring himself to disinherit his sole true son, despite Jay's disastrous track record. Still, Mike shamelessly came to our estate. By then, I'd become the true power behind Wilson Enterprises, while the Carter family's meteoric rise had crowds of sycophants at their door. My parents summoned me home for the meeting. Mike reminisced about my childhood in front of my family. I remained unmoved. "Joe, you must know Sam's true parentage by now," he ventured. "If you don't care for Jay, we could always transfer the engagement to Sam. We're practically family." "With all due respect," I interrupted, replacing his cold tea with fresh brew. "You're a Clark. He's a Carter. That's not how family works. Besides, engagements are archaic traditions. Your son made that abundantly clear when he humiliated me." I pushed the teacup toward him. "Scars fade, but the wounds remain. My parents severed ties with the Millers because their daughter suffered. But I've never refused business opportunities. If the Miller family has worthwhile projects offering Wilson Enterprises majority stakes, we'll talk. Just don't expect me within 10 feet of J. Miller." Mike left without touching his tea. Demanding majority stakes on favorable projects while rejecting unfavorable ones, only you'd have the nerve. My father chuckled after he departed. Why settle for Miller scraps? I discarded Mike's unused cup. The business world has better partners. My mother eyed me shrewdly. That once-bitten comment? Were you hinting Mike should depose his own son? My dad finally managed to stop laughing and asked. His son chose Sophie over me at Miller family. I just made him choose between his company and his son. Is that wrong? I shot my father a sideways glance. Fine. Fine. My grown-up daughter's too independent to listen to her old man anymore. Dad reclined in his rocking chair, swaying leisurely. Mom looked up from her book nearby. Joe, you've been with Sam for 3 or 4 years now. Any real plans to marry? Her gentle tone carried genuine concern. People date for decades without marrying these days. I've got wealth, looks, and charm, why rush? I sipped my tea nonchalantly. Marry or don't marry. Your happiness matters most. I'm just asking. Her gaze returned to the book. Wilson family will eventually be yours entirely. Whether you pass it to your children or sell it. Your father and I support your decision. Basking in the sunlight. My thoughts drifted. In that prophetic dream. Sophie had already died by now. I'd married Jay and conceived. Only to mysteriously miscarry. Doctors blamed contaminated food, yet Jay had controlled every morsel I ate during that period. The puzzle that haunted my dream self now made terrible sense. That miscarriage left my uterine lining too thin for future pregnancies. Becoming my lifelong regret. These quiet nights. I've occasionally considered using Sam's superior genes to conceive, but always dismissed the thought. While I crave Sam's physical appeal, something about him feels off. In my dream, he only appeared at my wedding to Jay. Yet now he's been by my side since our engagement party. According to the dream's timeline, he should have remained in America building his empire, not attaching himself to me. Can Sam be fully trusted? The question lingers. That night I stayed at my parents' home, avoiding the residence I share with Sam. The warning dream returned with new chapters, no longer ending at my death but continuing beyond. Posthumously, Jay failed to protect Miller family. Sam returned to America, aggressively acquiring company shares until becoming majority stakeholder. He stripped Mike and Jay of power, then lured Jay abroad under business pretense. In M's most dangerous district, surrounded by menacing drifters, Jay finally realized the trap. Remember the paper airplane promise? Sam's casual question turned Jay ashen. You broke your vow. Rot here. Sam turned to leave. Wait. Brother. Please. Jay grabbed Sam's sleeve only to be knocked down by a vicious punch. Cowering, he pleaded. I was wrong. Forgive me. Her death was accidental, the autopsy proved it. Bro. Don't leave me here. They'll kill me. She was just a fling from your past. But I'm your flesh and blood. Jay lay crumpled on the ground, his pitiful whimpers echoing through the alley. Sam looked down at him, lips curling into a mirthless smile. You killed Joe. Jay. Did you really think I wouldn't figure it out? The begging died in Jay's throat. You took her life yet dare ask for mercy? Do you think your existence holds more value than hers? Sam's boot pressed harder against Jay's cheekbone. Let me make this clear, you're not even worthy to lick her shoes. You swore to cherish her. Instead, you humiliated her, bankrupted her parents, then slit her throat. Where was your fear of consequences then? Sam's voice dropped to Arctic temperatures as his heel ground into the whimpering man's face. I won't turn you in. A bullet's too merciful. No. You'll live every waking moment wishing for death. Sam glanced at the approaching vagrants, their hungry eyes glinting in the dim light. Don't worry, the city provides basic necessities. Though with that pretty face of yours, his laugh chilled the air. I'm sure they'll keep you entertained. Jay's eyes bulged as realization struck. Brother. Please. I was wrong to impersonate you with Joe. But you let her go. She died thinking you abandoned her. What's the point of this revenge? He scrambled up, clinging to Sam's leg as the homeless men paused. The Wilson fortune would have been yours too. When Dad dies. Sam kicked him off like stray garbage. Mike abandoned me here decades ago. His dirty money means nothing. The engine roared to life as Sam slid into the driver's seat. Survive this hellhole, and I'll let you live. Pray hard. Little brother. Sam. We're family. Jay clawed at the moving car's door handle, desperation turning his screams shrill. Blood family. The sedan accelerated, dragging Jay several feet before he collapsed in the dust. Rough hands grabbed his designer shirt as the vagrant's laughter filled his final waking moments. The memory dissolved into childhood sunlight. I sat alone in our manicured backyard, watching a paper plane soar over the hedge. Scrawled on its wings were a boy's dreams of distant mountains. I scribbled my own wish, want a friend, and launched it back. Our paper messengers soon crisscrossed daily. He drew Optimus Prime protecting a caged monster. I added chains. He sketched tearful emojis. I shared stories of my absent parents, He confessed his mother's death and schoolyard isolation. When my parents finally returned, I begged to meet my secret friend. Mother baked cookies as we rang the Miller's doorbell. A boy emerged clutching our familiar folded aircraft. "I'm Jay." He smiled. Behind him, his parents beamed. "Our only child. Mrs. Miller added, smoothing his hair. The cookie tray slipped from my hands, ceramic shattering like the truth. Then, my parents and Mike's parents suggested that since both our families were in business, we should arrange a childhood betrothal. My parents agreed. One day, I saw a frail little boy walking out of Jay's house from my upstairs balcony, carrying a cardboard box. The wind lifted the lid, releasing a flurry of tattered paper airplanes, some torn to shreds, others scorched beyond recognition. The boy desperately chased after them but only managed to retrieve a few fragments, clutching the ruined pieces as he wept. Mike came cursing and hauled him into the car by his collar. I rushed downstairs and realized those paper planes were the same ones I'd tossed over the fence. When I confronted Jay, he said some annoying relative had destroyed his collection. I always wanted to ask that boy why he'd ruined Jay's planes, but I never saw him again before we moved. The dream continued. I saw Sophie arguing with Jay. "If you marry her, I'll kill myself," she screamed. "Then die. I'm marrying her regardless," Jay retorted coldly before storming off. Next, Sophie jumped from our wedding hotel's rooftop, her white wedding gown blooming crimson. I dreamed of Jay's maniacal laughter as I tumbled down a cliff, of his corpse lying half naked on some foreign street. Finally, I saw Sam praying fervently before Buddha, vowing to trade all his remaining years for my next life to retain these memories. The dream shifted again to our engagement party. Amidst the champagne flutes and gardenias, a pair of sorrowful eyes watched me unwaveringly from the crowd. Sam. I woke drenched in sweat. The empty bed reminded me I was at my parents' house. After showering, I slipped out with car keys. When I curled into Sam's arms later, his protective embrace melted my heart into soft clouds. The day Mike offered Sam an olive branch, I extended my own invitation. Sam chose Wilson family over Miller family, triggering Mike's wrath. Mike called an emergency press conference, revealing Jay wasn't his biological son. DNA tests proved Sam was his true heir. He listed Jay's crimes, stripped him of power, and evicted him from the company. By next morning, Mike had transferred all shares to Sam and updated his will accordingly. The speed left everyone stunned, my parents, me, even Sam. Jay's mother protested until Mike threatened to exile her too. Jay's fall from grace was brutal. His beloved Sophie publicly dumped him in a viral video, without the Miller name. "You're nothing. If you claim you'll die without me, then go die somewhere, here's cab fare." She threw cash at his face as winter winds scattered the bills, their love dying like autumn maple leaves. I couldn't help but feel emotional. In the dream, Jay had abandoned her when she was most in love with him. She used her death to make him remember her forever, even driving him to kill me for her sake. This time, she abandoned Jay when he was at his lowest, proving through actions that she only loved his status without it. He meant nothing. How ironic. Desperate, Jay waited until Sam went downstairs shopping before begging me. "Joe, I regret everything. You're so wonderful. Why didn't I cherish you before? I mistook a pebble for a pearl. I was blind." He knelt before me, tears and snot streaming down his face. "Joe, you loved me so much before. Give me another chance. I'll change whatever you don't like. I swear." It struck me as poignant. He'd always called me Joanna Wilson before. Hearing Joe from him felt oddly novel. "Jay, I was the one who filmed that hotel footage. Do you really think I could ever forgive you after that?" My voice turned icy. "Your blindness is your own problem. I don't need you to change because every part of you disgusts me." I threw a bank card at his feet. "There's $1 million here. Go to America and never come back. If I see you again, I'll have you beaten every single time." My bodyguard stepped forward at my signal. Jay disappeared to America. Rumor had it his ID, passport, cards, and phone got stolen on his first hotel night. Then he vanished from the hotel entirely. When found weeks later, he was living with homeless people, completely deranged. Sam refused to revert to the Miller name, insisting on remaining Samuel Carter. Mike didn't press the matter. Still want to take down Miller Enterprises? Sam asked after receiving Mike's stock transfer documents. Would you take over Miller Enterprises? I countered. Do you want me to? He deftly tossed the question back. Clever man. I snorted, kicking him playfully before sliding off the bed to escape this verbal sparring. Not so fast. His hands circled my waist, pulling me back against him. You're in charge here. Your wish is my command. I targeted Jay, not the company. Thousands rely on those jobs, I'm no ruthless queen. My legs hooked around his hips as I settled onto his lap, toes wiggling mischievous patterns against his back. Take it if you want, but don't feel obligated. Though if you do, I'll stop opposing Miller Enterprises. His Adam's apple bobbed. Suddenly I found myself pinned beneath him. When his hand fumbled for the nightstand drawer, I burst out laughing. Threw them all out. Won't need protection anymore. I dragged him back down, sealing my promise with a kiss. The hunger in his eyes could have started wildfires. For 2 weeks afterward, I wore scarves to hide neck bruises. Em teased me mercilessly about it, until I finally snapped at Sam in frustration. Days later at family dinner, my mother pulled me into the study. She showed me stock certificates. Sam had quietly transferred all his Miller Enterprises shares to me the same day Mike gave them to him. Samuel's a good man, Mom said. He didn't want you feeling burdened. But you should know. My mom only said one thing. Oh, I'll pretend I don't know. I giggled, nuzzling her shoulder with sticky, sweet affection. 5 months after Sam took over Miller Family Enterprises, I found out I was pregnant. The moment he heard the news, Sam dropped everything to resume orbiting around me. You finally stabilized the company. Really giving it all up? I teased. Absolutely. Your safety comes first, he answered, meticulously dicing dragon fruit before feeding me bite-sized pieces with a fork. 5 years together without official commitment. Yet he'd never complained. His devotion manifested in countless ways, removing disliked ingredients from my meals, dressing me at 3 a.m. for spontaneous beach sunrises, keeping vigil during my illnesses. My thermos always held fresh white fungus soup, just how I liked it. Though uncertain whether my haunting dreams reflected past lives, I refused to let fear hold me back. Let's get married tomorrow, I murmured. Sam froze mid-motion. What did you say? His stunned expression hovered between disbelief and desperate hope. I said childhood paper airplanes fly away. But Sam? I want to keep him. I swung leisurely on the porch glider, leaving him momentarily breathless. His mother died without legal recognition from the man who abandoned them. Our child wouldn't repeat that history. After years of instability, Sam deserved peace. With Sam stepping back, Mike resumed leadership of Miller Enterprises despite declining health. We took maternity photos after the courthouse wedding. New life deserves documentation. I declined elaborate ceremonies, and my parents eventually relented. Our healthy baby boy arrived glowing. We named him Ethan Carter. Quiet but perceptive. I hoped he'd learn to observe the world's beauty before speaking. Still, I'd teach him to voice his heart boldly when love appears. Diverging paths don't always realign. As for me, fortune smiled when Sam's patient devotion finally met my open arms.